Arkansas at Auburn, Saturday, 3:30, 2:30 game there on ESPN. My first thing that I think about when I go back to that Arkansas game, I think everyone's got burned in their memories the meltdown for Arkansas at Oklahoma State. But yet, if you look like first three games, they've rushed for at least 230 all three of those games. And so
Yeah.
I think about like coming into this one, the way it profiles, I think there are going to be a lot of points scored. First off, like I took the over at 56.5. So the first thing I wonder is, would Arkansas be able to go in there? I think both of them candidly feel like it's sort of a do or die moment for them in terms of preseason goal setting and whatnot. Can they go in there and not have to ask Taylor Green to win the game with his arm? Because he can be very hit or miss, boom or bust on that front. Do they start peeling it off like 6 yards per carry? Is that the kind of game that starts to set up? Because if it does, you know, you weren't there, but you know all too well the uneasiness in your gut that started to set in when you watched Cal start doing what they were doing. And if Arkansas starts doing that as well and they're able to put four quarters together, I feel like it's evenly matched in a lot of ways. That could be one of the edges, I guess. What's one of the things you're looking at?
I think the main reason that you would go lean to what you said about not necessarily wanting Taylor Green to have to go out there, throw it, say, 44 times and go win the game on his shoulders, on his back with his arm, is that he's thrown 2 interceptions. He's fumbled it 3 times this year. So he will give you the football. I don't want him to have that many opportunities to give my opponent the football in their stadium, which just happens to be one of the toughest places to play in the nation. Also, I have an absolute hammer at tailback in Jaquindon Jackson, who can get downhill about as well as any back I've seen this year. Now, the offensive line might not be dominant, but I also don't think the Auburn front seven is dominant by any stretch of the imagination. Josh, I think any coach would love to be able to go on the road in that type of environment and dominate or at least be very successful on the ground, just because of what it does to everything, calming the crowd down, slowing the game down. I mean, you want to shut up a crowd in a stadium, go on a 13-play drive for about 6.5 minutes with, 10 run plays, 11 run plays. They're not going to have a lot to cheer about for a while. So I think Sam Pittman and company would love to do that. Bobby Petrino would love to do it. And then you use Taylor Green's legs when you want to, not when you have to. So you boot him out, you call a quarterback run, you have a sprint out at your luxury, as opposed to when you feel like this is the only way we're going to be successful. So I know for a fact that Arkansas wants to lean on Jackson, and I know he's a hammer. So if they can get that going, I don't think there's any reason they'd get away from it and would probably enjoy doing it for 4 quarters.
Yeah, the other thing, as turnover prone as he may be over there on Arkansas, you realize Auburn's had 2+ turnovers in 5 straight games, dating back to last year even. So I'm going to sit here and watch Hank Brown start at quarterback. Had a fairly good day, especially second half against New Mexico. I am watching that, and I'm watching them this Saturday. And everyone will say, oh, it's important to get off to a fast start, which is true. And, oh, it's important. Don't let Arkansas start tilting those critical factors, plays run, time of possession. Don't let that be all warped in the first half, even if all that goes Auburn's way. Watching Auburn football right now, I have this like dread in the back of my head of any given play, which is, of course, not forecastable. But when you've done it a couple of times, at least 5 straight games, that kind of becomes part of who you are as a team. And so at the very least, it is disconcerting from a predictability standpoint. But Hank Brown hitting big plays should be able to happen here. I don't know. What's the latest on Coleman, by the way? Is he playing Saturday?
Questionable. I think he'll go.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
It should be there. There should be plays to be made back there. But the thing about it is if I mix a couple of 3 turnovers in there along with that, it really is irrelevant. That's the difference in the game. And I don't necessarily know how we quantify that, but that's another thing that I'm looking at here.
Well, I think the other part is one of Arkansas's best DBs is going to be out. That should give you some opportunities down the field. The one thing that I think could go furthest in making Hank Brown the better option is not turn the football over, because he's not going to be overly dynamic in any other way. He doesn't have the mobility Peyton Thorne has, doesn't have a huge arm, honestly doesn't really get the ball out very quick. There were a couple of throws on the perimeter, some out routes, hitch routes that I was thinking to myself, man, that ball just looks late. And next week, the week after, and then the week after that, that could be a problem. But he's accurate. And apparently the decision-making and the understanding of the offense and the operation of it are something that he has had some advantages with and done a little bit better job of. All of those things have to happen for him. And that's the one thing that I don't know in this game, Josh. I don't know what Auburn offense we're going to get, because a lot of it had morphed into utilizing Peyton Thorne's legs. So you could freeze the backside of the defense because of his ability to keep the ball and run. You don't have that anymore. New Mexico was screaming flat down the line of scrimmage on the backside of run plays, almost making those plays a couple times. I would imagine Landon Jackson and company will probably be able to make those plays. So you're going to have to screen them there. You're going to have to sneak a draw in every now and then. You're going to have to boot to that side. You might have to crack to that side a little bit. So the game plan does have to alter to hopefully be able to open some things up for Jarquez Hunter, because I still think he has to be the guy that you ride, no matter what. Right now, he's the most proven football player on your team. And 20 carries last week felt like 120 carries because he just hadn't been getting that kind of a workload. He's got to get it if Auburn's going to win this football game.
Yeah, another question. We'll get to the pick here. There's such a – you see this all the time. You're on the road every week. There's such a disparity for teams that are struggling, but like they're big venue teams. If they start hot, home field's an advantage the entire afternoon. It disproportionately affects the game. If they do not start fast – just like Florida week 1 against Miami, they don't start fast, home field non-existent. Like you're standing mid-second quarter on the sideline in the swamp, and Miami's doing whatever they want to. And I think that could be the case here because we've seen games in the past where Auburn's not putting up a record necessarily that's anything to write home about, but good start. A lot of stuff comes together. I think about the interim situation a couple of years ago, which may have been against Arkansas. Was it against Arkansas? I can't remember who that was against.
Carnell?
Yeah.
Texas A&M.
Texas A&M, where place is on fire. So that place possesses the ability to do that. You got to start fast or prevent them from doing it. Okay, where are you going on this game?
I think it's more important. Sorry to interrupt you. It's more important to prevent them from starting fast because Arkansas has big play capability. Taylor Green, 10 runs of 10 yards or more, 4 runs of 20 yards or more. So he can do it by himself. Armstrong's been hitting plays down the field. We've already mentioned at tailback what they have. If you allow them to start fast and then they can add some of those explosives later, which are just more demoralizing when you're down or it looks like you might be down soon or might not have the best chance to win, that could be problematic. And then with a little bit of a younger team too, I think you need that motivation early.
All right, where are you going on this game?
I think Auburn finds a way to get it done. I think that Taylor Green having show you he'll give it back with Jalen McLeod and a couple of edge defenders that out in space have been pretty good. Are against 320-pound tackles, down in, down out, maybe not. But I think where they lined up last week shows you that they have some versatility and they can be in different places. I think he'll try to get out of the pocket a few times, and an Auburn defender or two will make a play. Still have a couple of veterans that haven't been playing great football on the back end, but I think have a chance to step up and make some plays in this game. And then I think Hank Brown protects the ball. I'd probably take the under if I were you, but I'm going to go Auburn somewhere in the neighborhood of like 24-21, lower scoring game than we think.
All right, so I'm promptly telling you I'm taking the over because I think there will be a little more scoring here. I think Arkansas is going to find a way to win this. Don't have a ton of confidence on the side. I do think Arkansas is find a way to win this. I don't think the game is going to have to be put in Green's hands, per se, to throw the ball late. He'll make enough plays. Back and forth either way. I think it's played in the 30s instead of the 20s, so I am going to take Arkansas to win